Let's take a look at where they'll be playing, though, so we'll see if this is something that might favor one team or another. In this case, we'll see where we go to. Now, Coastline is, as you mentioned, pretty much not going to show up today. Consulate is the other auto ban, though, and Bank the first to be taken off by FaZe, and Clubhouse followed up by Black Dragons.
All right, so we've got Border and Oregon once more. This is the same exact set of bans that we saw change one map, and now the same map we're going to be playing. So Border twice in a row.
We're getting the mirror of the very first match.
I was about to say, are we going to see Border for every play day? That would be crazy if we saw Border every day at the beginning of LATAM and every day at the end of LATAM.
We did see, like, for example, in North America, 3 villas in a row, like that they'd saved up almost, for, the other week. So, stuff like that tends to happen where they just kind of pile up when they're just not played for a while, and there hasn't been a ton of Border played for Latin America. I mean, it's not been unplayed at all, but still, this is one, though, that is similar to the previous match that we just had, in that one of the teams has only played it once, and the other team has played it quite a few times, although not nearly to the extent Bootcamp has. We have the situation where FaZe has played it 3 times, and Black Dragons has played it once. Now, they played it once on that very first day we were talking about. That was a 5-5 tie against Ninja's Pajamas. FaZe also played Ninja Pajamas against Ninja's Pajamas on Border, which was a 6-1 in favor of FaZe. So if you're using Ninja's Pajamas as a bookmark or a benchmark rather, this is definitely in favor of FaZe. Not that we weren't already thinking it was very likely. But they also did tie it at the beginning, as you mentioned earlier, against Immortals. But then the rematch of that against Immortals again on Border very much went in FaZe's favor with 6-1. So interesting history, I think, on this map between these two teams. Not directly against each other, as they have not fought each other on this map yet. Yeah,
I mean, and all things considered, going into this match, you're thinking to yourself, oh yeah, FaZe is going to win this. So the question is, how many rounds can Black Dragons take away from FaZe Clan? I think that's really what we're all considering going into this. But, it's possible maybe we could see a draw as well. Anything could happen.
I mean, there's nothing to lose for FaZe, but at the same time, like, you're still playing for your org, you're still playing for the respect of your fans, you still want to put on a good show, and it's a situation where, a lot of these guys probably still don't like to lose. It's a situation where
of course.
A lot of times they might play loose at first and then just kind of tighten up and like, oh, we don't want to give them too many points.
Yeah, no, absolutely. All things considered, though, I mean, this still does look like a pretty sure thing. I mean, Black Dragons, even if they win, I mean, it's not going to mean anything and ultimately. So, or actually, it possibly could, but it very likely will not, considering the tiebreakers. Of course, something that's going to have to be looked at. If Black Dragons are to win this, they will have 15 points. But if you look at the tiebreakers against Pain and Nip, that's what would determine where they would land then, because Pain is ending this season with 15 points. Nip is going to be ending this season either with 15 points, or if they win against Immortals or draw against Immortals, possibly 16. Nip right now are in the best possible position.
Well, we know BD for sure tied against Nip, at least on this map in the very first match of the season, so definitely that not going to go in the favor of either team.
Yeah, but they did also actually beat Nip in the second match. So BD, I suppose, technically could fight their way out of this corner in possibly.
It's just, what do we do in a 3-way tie then? It gets a little
it's gonna, honestly,
crazier.
Because another thing is, Pain have beaten Nip in the most recent match. They lost against them in the first half, though. Or actually, no, sorry, Pain lost to Nip in the most recent match and beat them in their first match of the season. So, I mean, all in all, these bottom 3 teams, the point I'm trying to get at here is these bottom 3 teams are in such a weird space right now, where it's going to come down to the most, the tiniest calculation on who's going to end up where. And while technically Black Dragons could fight their way out, I suppose if you consider the tiebreak and it's something that would have to be looked at further, then I don't think it's going to happen against FaZe.
Here's what's exciting, though, for Bootcamp, though. At the moment, it looks like they're in 3rd place now. That could shift, but if they manage to end the season in 3rd place, that's pretty good for a team that have struggled as much as they have, just because, well, some of the other teams have also struggled equally. Now, I mean, it's very unlikely because Team 1 or Liquid are very likely to overtake them, but at the same time, it still feels good to be in 3rd for a second.
Maybe. I mean, let's bring up the community vote for this match, see what you guys think. Who's going to win it? Is it going to be a draw? What's the situation here? Oh, look at that. Surprise, surprise. 78% for FaZe Clan. And not a high likelihood of a draw there at 6.
Yeah, well, the 16% of the fans out there for Black Dragons. It's
Represent.
not terrible. I never count a team out. We've definitely seen, especially Latin America, we've seen some of the small teams beat the big teams in situations before where they just have a bad game or catch them on the wrong map or the operator bans. It's possible now in this case where FaZe don't have anything to lose. That's, in theory, more possible.
Absolutely, I agree. We'll have to find out as we get into this match, though. FaZe Clan, defense, and the Black Dragons on attack.
Well, we'll see how these operator bans go down. We could see a more ridiculous full hard breacher ban if they want to get crazy here. Unlikely to happen, though. Lion most likely to be one of these 2 bans, if not the very first.
Yep, there he goes. Bye-bye, Lion. Oh, huge surprise. In fact, so easy to predict, it's almost a foregone conclusion at this point.
Unfortunately, I mean, you hate to see that in a situation that you don't really want these to be as predictable. I would like to see that it doesn't end up being Lion and Mira so often.
I mean, it'd be cool to have tactical bans out of the 4 possible operator bans, but we don't get those. We get,
to be fair,
we don't want to play against this, and then every once in a while we get a tactical ban.
I think North America probably does some more of the oddball bans than some of the other regions. You know, you get a lot more of the Pulse, Valkyrie, the Buck bans.
Yeah.
We had EG banning Smoke against them. I don't know, just interesting things like that. I mean, I'm not saying it's a good thing for the teams. I don't know if it's always been working out, but it's been more varied, whereas this right here, we're seeing the exact same bans on the exact same map.
And yeah, FaZe are actually just getting rid of we don't want to play against this no matter who it's against operators. That's Lion and Clash.
Even being banned in the exact same order.
Mm-hmm.
So will the bomb sites be played out in the same order? Astro just bring in a little bit of fun. We'll see if he sticks on that. As I said, they may play this a little bit looser, something you mentioned as well, that he could go with that cap can also. Just trying to represent Russia here. Looks like, no, he's going to let Mav take that duty. Now they can't 6-pick both of those, of course. So that is an interesting fake out. I don't know if they're just doing this for our benefit or if they're actually trying to decide what to play. Drunk's actually just going to display the Blitz, something that was more of a surprise in the last matchup, although that could also, again, be 6-pick off of, which he will. And there goes Tachanka, so we are not... Oh, no. Astro's going to stick it. He's going to use that 6-pick to keep it. So,
okay.
I'm not sure they're playing too seriously, and they're also going to switch to vents here.
So it's going to be one of those.
They're just... No, is he going to try and stick it? Oh, he was bringing it into the last minute. He is just trying to keep this entertaining for his fans out there.
Okay. So it's going to be one of those.
It's going to be one of those. Feels like some of the old seeding matches.
Yeah, it does. All right, so ventilation, the first defense from FaZe. They'll be opening up any of the default spots, a lot of holes from above, so you can clearly tell they're going to be playing inside of Armory quite heavily. Reinforcements also reinforcing that opinion on that clear prediction. Lots of default plant holes being opened up, so Moringa, as you can see, is using that shotgun. If anybody should try to plant the diffuser in certain locations that are expected, then they will likely be shot from above, or at least that's the idea behind FaZe's current setup.
Yeah, and of course you'll have the goo mines to be able to help identify that if those are placed in the right spots as well, because you can have the goo mine go off, then well, you know to peek that hole, and you don't have to as unsafely peek down. But knowing the way a lot of people play, he'll still just be watching those holes anyways.
Very likely. I mean, FaZe are going to, I'm sure, stick to this top floor quite heavily. And they have 2 hard destructors on the opposing team, and RDZ has been downed already. Not sure what happened there. He will be picked up. Likely a spawn peek from his opponent, CCTV door, but salvaged is the that story for Black Dragons, or so far it seems. Slash going to try and isolate the east stairs. Astro playing nearby and could be caught off guard here, but he will opt to fall all the way back. Definitely the right call.
And in contrast to what we saw last match, they are going with the double hard breachers and bringing in Jackal, which is something you don't see too often on this map in general. See if it pays off for them. I mean, you get the ability to at least lock down one defender, but more often than not, sadly, you get maybe one roamer, but mostly you end up with someone that's already on site, as it was you were just catching them going off site to reinforce and come back to site, things like that. RDZ, though, being tagged down early is going to be a little bit harder for him to kind of take this entry frag roll that he's doing here.
He's looking for the angles, but he's expecting someone to peek from the top of the main stairs. Not going to be the case here from FaZe. All of their roamers that they want on the top floor are already on the top floor. Top staircase position not being utilized by the defense. The attackers are starting to come about, though, and fully encompass the top of Armory. As they isolate these roamers one by one, they will actually opt to run into CCTV. Could catch some attackers off guard. Lev is really exposed right now on his drone just outside CCTV doorway. RDZ is holding the flank, and he will take out cameraman. Astro manages to get Lev, though, so it's an equal exchange. Or I would say it was an equal exchange if RDZ had not managed to get that Yokai drone. That puts it in the favor of the attack. -1 Yokai is huge, but Astro quickly fixes that as he takes down Drunks. So it's a constant back and forth with these teams. No pause button for either.
Yeah, so far that's 2 for Astro, who was teasing that to Jonka, but obviously switching off of it to the Jaeger. Definitely working out a bit better here, as I do not think he'd be up 2. And now up 3 off of that. And the fact that he retook control of CCTV has just been... I mean, that's the second time he retook control of it as well. They're not doing a good job holding that room. At this point, I wouldn't even try and take it, but finally Slash punishes him.
Yeah, Astro eventually does die, but it's so late in the round, and the damage is really done. As Mav takes down Slash, it's all up to the Thermite, 1 versus 3, and Small will take out Yuna, so good kill there, but it's going to be finally finished off. Mav will end it. First round goes to FaZe.
Well, we saw last matchup go very, very attacker favored. In this case, with it starting on defense for FaZe, not so likely to see that this time. We're probably going to see a lot more defensive rounds, even if we don't see so many in the second half. We'll see where they go for the second site. I got to imagine this is going to be lockers, but who knows? They could get creative. Just try some things out. It's a good time to experiment. And, of course, Bathroom Tellers is a place to do that. I mean, to be fair, it was definitely be played fairly seriously the last matchup, and probably going to still be played somewhat seriously here. So hopefully Black Dragons are prepared for this to be the bomb site. Maybe after watching last matchup, it didn't really work out so great for most of the defenders. Actually, no, let me correct that. It didn't work out for any of the defenders. All 3 times it was played, it was lost. So not the greatest bomb site to be going to in this situation on this map right now. But you never know. Can definitely be one, but it's very, very tricky to win if you cannot hold control of that top floor, at least retake it later. Capital coming out for the first time. We saw him teased earlier, but did not get brought as he was 6th pick off of. So Lev's going to stick that. Lev being one of those players we've seen showing up quite a bit lately. He had been very good on the Jackal in previous matchups. Just fortunately that last one was not the case for him as he got caught on his drone. So does happen. But he's going to change things up.
Clearly, Bathroom Tellers is a pretty standard bomb site in the Latin American region. And they were the first team to adapt it to the meta. So it makes sense, or not the first team, but the first region, pardon me, to adapt it to the meta. And it's sensible, yeah, that we would see now 3 teams be going to Bathroom Tellers over Ventilation or Armory.
Kind of funny because the French teams played it a lot as well. You had Vitality and Millennium doing it to kind of represent EU, but then North America just never really picked it up, and they've actually been doing okay on customs instead lately. So it seems like North America's decided that it's just customs is more the 3rd bomb site for them. But I do like the 3rd bomb site thing because it has made both those bomb sites played a lot more often.
Drunk's already feeling the pressure early on. Astro peeking wildly outside on the balcony. Very dangerous, but you can see FaZe is really trying to flex their muscles here and establish their dominance. And thus far, it has worked out for them. Pre-fire there from Cameraman trying to cover the retreat of Astro. Not going to hit any mark, but will at least deter Black Dragons somewhat.
Might as well if you can, right? If you don't get punished for it. RDZ taking control of CCTV again, but last time lost control of that very quickly. This time, I imagine probably not going to make that mistake, but Mav does spot someone and actually has an opportunity to sneak around here with the C4. I like the idea, but the amount of time it takes him to do it just leaves it not a great opportunity.
Yeah, he thought about it, but decided not to commit fully. And fine. I mean, yeah. There hasn't been much time delayed, so he's going to need that C4 and all likelihood to deny a plant moving forward.
It does mean he cannot rotate up safely, though. Once you rotate down, if you can't get back to the stairs, well, you're kind of stuck down there.
Yeah, and it seems like he's going to be playing on the site. Instead, Astra with his own C4, though, will miss as he failed to break the little wooden bits on that hole. Slash will finally finish him off. No bandit tricking inside of Office any longer. Great take there from Black Dragons. You got to imagine if Astra had pre-placed or pre-opened that hole, he might have been able to throw the C4 with success there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that, as I like to say, that works both ways in terms of grenades going back over as well. But, you know, if you had a Jaeger, that makes it, you know, there's no Jaeger for C4s on the attacking side. So it is something that can work out more in your advantage, but, you know.
This setup here from FaZe inside of Customs, you can see Camera is waiting to impact the wall and flank his opponents, though. As they wait, another one of their teammates will be taken out. That's Yuna. And it's looking good for BD, but Camera will refrag it. RDZ gets mad, the diffuser being planted inside of B on the default plant spot, and Camera looking for more kills, but unable to find his shots. Moringa will get one, and oh, what a pistol kill from Cameraman. A 2 versus 2, but Camera's so exposed, and the attackers both above the diffuser. Moringa will go down as he attempts to stick it, and Camera with 1 HP. This would be a miraculous clutch if he pulled it off, but it's not to be. RDZ, the final kill. Black Dragons take their first round.
Yet another unsuccessful Teller's defense, unfortunately. So definitely doesn't seem like the way to go.
I gotta say, the way that they're defending Tellers, and by they I mean every team we've seen defend Tellers so far today, Pain, BK, and FaZe, is so curious because the only practical way to hold that site is if you defend offices and archives to the death.
Yeah.
And we've been seeing the roamers and offices and archives fall back at 2 minutes, at 1 minute 30, and try to go for the the retake. I liked the setup there from FaZe because they had a practical retake established. It wasn't just, hey, we'll play off site and then we'll come back to site. No, they had the castle inside of Customs to establish a lane back to site. That's wise. That means that they're not relying on the default lanes and they are trying to catch their opponent off guard with their own little trap. But it didn't work. And again, FaZe fell off the top floor, off of Office Archives, way too soon. And we've seen many teams make that mistake. You really cannot be taking... You have to hold it. It's not like a ventilation defense. If you don't hold it, you don't have much to fall back.
And that's the thing is like with contrasting that with ventilation. Yeah, you also start upstairs, but when you fall off back to site, and it's defendable from down there because they can't do as much damage from above. The hatches aren't placed in such undefensible positions.
Compromising positions. Really.
Yeah.
I mean, like you lose so much control.
Yeah. Plus, this is a very, very big kind of double room that you have down there in the workshop, so it does give you more space to play inside the site safely.
Also, if we're being honest, the lighting inside of workshop is so dark.
That's a very good point.
If you are holding an angle that an attacker peeks into you in workshop, then you're probably going to win that fight 9 times out of 10 because there's always like a slight little delay of actually seeing your opponent in workshop.
Yeah, and depending on what the operator you are, you can definitely hide better than others. Like something like Smoke can actually blend in fairly well. I mean, Vigil as well for sure, but we don't see him all that often on that bomb site.
Back in the day, there used to be a little kind of glow on operators in this game, but they dialed that way back, and now they kind of blend into the environment. So
that's why we don't see Theme Park.
Yeah, and so on dimly lit sites like Workshop, you can use that to your advantage. The lack of the glow, the little shine that used to exist, can really, give you some easy kills.
Speaking of easy kills, Astro almost gave one away there, and he actually still has a mute jammer in his pocket, which is an odd thing. You rarely see that from a mute because part of the reason to play him is to get full utilization. Thankfully, he does finally stick that last one down, because those mute chambers are just so useful in different ways across the map.
Usually mostly useful at the beginning of the round as well.
Yeah, you don't really want to be playing them right after you're getting shot at.
Yeah. Astro's been peeking wild angles a lot in this match, and it's kind of worked out for FaZe in that it applies pressure. It's also kind of not in that he's, leaving himself very exposed, and it's worrisome. You can see the Thermite placing the Claymore there. He's trying to cover the eventual exothermic charge plant, but they need some way to get rid of the mute jammer, and then they'll have to face the bandit who will be tricking. So overall, does not look like a good armory push right now for BD.
No, this is very much a ying through the door kind of push, but they do actually manage to get the batteries out, at least to be able to open the wall. So that does offer more opportunity for Drunks here. I imagine You'd want someone to clear the ADS as well, which is going to be Hibana's job, very likely. However,
Wow.
We see that a lot now these days, that sandwich window being quite the killing spot on a lot of teams.
Yeah, what a shot from Drunks, though. Extremely tight angle, and now 2-man advantage for Black Dragons. So what was looking like a pretty easy defense after the failed bandit tricking and the 2 kills that BD have now managed to get is looking to go the opposite direction now. Drunks using his Candelas wisely inside a small office. He will rush in, but the bandit has fallen downstairs. Cameraman will take out Lev with a C4. Drunks does, though, get another kill, and Slash will take out Moringa. It's all up to camera, and RDZ will cut off his rotation. Black Dragons put 2 in a row.
Well, they definitely punished a lot of the players of FaZe for the way that they were playing in sight. They were playing a little bit loose, and unfortunately for them, they're kind of in this, we're just going to kind of run around, do what we want to do kind of thing. Absolutely punished by Black Dragons, who are actually playing a lot of angles, trying to play it smart and taking advantage of those Candelas to make sure, well, they can't run around and peek things if you can't see. So well played by them, and then sneaking, of course, into the offices the way he did to be able to get that kill from the side. So that was nice plays from Drunks in terms of both the sandwich window and then the opposite side being on the in the small office. It's like he played the same angle from 2 different sides, really working out for him. So back down to vents we go. They're going to decide, well, nothing's worked but vents, so let's go right back there. Give it a second try now that they can. Attackers bringing a similar lineup, imagining that they will probably be attacking lockers again, which will not be the case. So hopefully this will work out for them in terms of attack lineup, but you definitely can use all of these attackers on this bomb site. It's not like they're going to be like, oh, what do we do with all these Candelas we have now and this smoke crossbow bolt, you know? It's definitely doable, and it could actually spell a B push, because it's something the utility-wise that they have the utility to be able to help do, because you can cut off the rotation from the small hole with the fire, then cut it off with smoke as well. Candela through it to make sure that anyone trying to kind of peek it is going to be in a tough spot, and then go for a plant in there, depending on how it's set up. You do have to worry about people playing above it, but if you see no holes in the floor when you go to drone it, that's a good opportunity to take advantage of that, because if you can pull it off fast enough in smoke, then they have to try and use that to retake it at best.
I completely agree with your assessment. Capitao is the optimal operator to attack a B bomb site, especially considering you can use the smoke bolts to deny those angles. So like if the pre-made holes from above are there and you don't want to clear out the top floor, which usually is what we'll see people do. They'll just open up the wall. Cameraman's trying to bandit trick right now. Once that wall is open, you can push in through B, because the defenders can't use the angles that you see they've opened up. But if you use Capitao, you can just smoke the ceiling.
Yeah, you can shoot the hole.
Yeah, and you could deny the information to the defenders. Plant in a slightly odd location and plant the diffuser. And Yin Candelas can take care of the coverage from the other bomb site. You can also smoke the main hallway still, because you have 2 bolts. So there's a lot of options available to Black Dragons on this attack.
And unfortunately for Mav, there's no evil eyes, and those black eyes will not see through the smoke. So definitely would be a situation where you'd have to try and catch it. Luckily for him, it is up and it is elevated, so there's a good chance it might see over the smoke. But that still won't necessarily, if the plant itself is being smoked, you won't necessarily see that. But either way, we'll see if they even go to capitalize on that. As it looks like, for the moment, they are stacking up for an upstairs attack, so not really taking advantage of some advantage that they do have at the moment.
So, in a very stark contrast to the other match we saw today, lots of droning from Black Dragon.
Yeah.
It's so thorough. In
Just
fact,
about everyone, I think, except for RDZ droning.
They've spent half the round droning now, and they've managed to clear out the offices and fountain, so they've managed, I mean, that's something, right?
Yeah.
But not very efficient.
Well, we'll see. Small has already taken a lot of damage. Thankfully, they bring double hard breachers, so that will help a little bit. But there's a good chance he will get down before being able to open a whole lot. They're going for somewhat of an office's fountains take to try and push on into the main site. But they don't have a lot of cross pressure here. The best they can hope for is force people downstairs at the moment. But at the same time, Astro is able to take out Drunks, so no Candela is left to set the party off. Small just holding an angle for the rest of the team, but at least they have this opening here into the site, which is pretty good if they can keep everyone busy and he can go for the plant.
Yeah, he must have taken some damage when he went for that exothermic charge in the first place. From above, RDZ trying to get the opponent inside of bathroom, opening up these angles. Just dangerous to challenge, but he will do so all the same. Trying to force Moringa as far back as possible. Lev will die to Astro, who's peeking wildly in the main hallway. Small on low HP will also die pretty easily to Moringa. A headshot, but unnecessary overkill at this point. Slash will get Astro. And Black Dragons does fight back, but not very much and not enough, certainly. We saw the lighting there actually playing a little bit of an effect. Slash missing his shots on his opponent and will miss the follow-up as well, despite getting the advantage in terms of positioning in that fight. Prone inside of B, he's got a good position, but he's not going to use it that well. And RDZ, while getting a kill, is up against 3 opponents now. And still, with 5 seconds left, he will lose the fight to FaZe. Yuna locks things out, and we see it go to 2-2.
So far, they are, 2 for 2 also for ventilations and not so much for the other sites.
Yeah, FaZe has won nothing but Vent. That's crazy.
This definitely seems familiar, as Vents was one that we saw both teams win last matchup as well. Seeming like a good bomb site for Latin America at the moment. Not as much so for lockers, which is interesting.
Yeah, nobody's won bathroom either. Yeah. Not one bathroom success. We saw one armory success in the previous match, but...
That's weird to see one success on that bomb site, too.
Yeah. And after 4 rounds of bathroom defense, no one's been able to win it.
I feel like we're starting to see FaZe tighten up a little bit as well. I feel like they're playing a little bit less loose than they were previously. Astro's still kind of doing his thing, but it's honestly working. So no reason for him to really change what he's doing. I mean, he's just playing the fast and loose Jaeger, which, I mean, that is a good role for him. So.
Yeah, it seems like FaZe is kind of flexing, not in the way that they're trying to prove their confidence, but more like they're trying to figure out what they can handle without trying too difficultly, or too hard. It seems like, those 2 rounds that Black Dragons managed to take, FaZe were playing a little bit too loose, a little bit too on the edge, and that round they tightened it up somewhat. The point I'm trying to get at,
a bit more.
Yeah, the point I'm trying to get at though is ultimately FaZe does seem in control despite it being 2-2 right now.
Absolutely.
And a lot. They're gonna go to Armory. We'll see if they can get the second successful Armory defense for today off of our 2 border matches and their first one.
Yep, we'll see if it works out, but either way, it's the last defense they have to do, so then we'll see what we get from Black Dragon's side, which I would imagine they should not start on tellers, but you never know. Certainly seems to be an oddball day for Border.
Maybe they will, man. I honestly can't say.
You can't guess at this point. Not to mention, we may not know in depth what's going on in the Latin American region because it's in Portuguese for the most part.
I mean, sure, but we can predict it to an extent. We know that Bathroom Towers is a very popular LATAM bomb site. We know that it's always been that way, even since the beginning of Border. The question is, will it be something that every team opts to go to? Yuna's trying, man.
Yeah, that's the question here, is can Yuna pull off what he's trying to do?
He's really putting in work to make this happen. Here's the thing, though. That's not an easy jump. In fact, it's a very difficult one, especially as a 3 armor.
Yeah.
It's reinforced how difficult it is when you're playing a lower speed. Drunks from below going to open up a lot of angles, but choose not to use them. He could have just gotten 2 free kills, as there were 2 opponents right above him, but he decided to rotate onto other pastures, I guess, not necessarily greener. FaZe will take out Drunks, though, from above, and RDZ already bit the dust, so Black Dragon's now in a 3 versus 5. Round has barely started.
Interesting that Astro's still doing his thing, but this time as Legion instead of Jaeger, who's actually Mav's taken over. So.
I mean, I suppose FaZe is just, role swapping, not a huge surprise. I mean, Latin America is known for their versatility in terms of operators, but also, again, FaZe is playing this kind of loose. Camera will bandit trick despite the pressure he's feeling from below. He's got the support of Mav to hold that doorway. Lev's going to eat some damage as well, so at every turn, Black Dragon's being pushed away. Not a great situation. They can't even thermite open the Arsenal wall, but the rush in from Slash, Mav is no longer covering, and Black Dragons will get their first kill of the round, as well as denying the bandit tricking.
Well, they do have 2 hard breachers left and someone to cover for the plant if Lev can stay alive, so it's definitely not the worst situation to be in. They could also open up the other part of the wall if they could take out that battery just to give themselves more angles. So, I mean, there's still possibility to play this, but the fact that they're not going for a reset on Lev makes it very unlikely that this plant's going to succeed, because one person's going to have to be on the diffuser planting, and that leaves just 2 up to cover him.
Yeah, it's important that the Capitao is able to get his utility down, those smokes and firebolts, before he dies, and with so little HP, I don't know. It might not happen. The firebolts come in though to cut off the rotation, and the smokes are soon to follow. Gas canisters to hold the push. Yuna will force himself towards half wall, and from the flank, Astro missing every shot possible. Yuna though on his push will get 2 and looks for the final one. Moringa though is the eventual final killer, and Slash will go down. FaZe take another round.
Well, finally a change up there, in that we finally seeing the Lockers defense working out outside of the one we saw last match. So a little bit better one that time. Unfortunately, it was just due to Black Dragons just getting caught off guard a lot again by players like Astro, just taking advantage of the speed. And like you mentioned, like the Buck, for example, just not really fully taking advantage of his position downstairs, opening the floor, and then not really capitalizing on it. It just seemed like they struggled for a long time as well to be able to take out those batteries. Yeah, eventually they managed to just peek in for the kill, but the amount of time he was able to delay with that, leaving the 2 hard breachers pretty much just standing outside holding things, it didn't really work out too great for them in terms of just not being useful most of the time. I mean, it's obviously a much better situation when you get that wall open, and Thermite can do a different job rather than stand there and wait to do that, where he can go cover for flanks and things like that. But their entry fraggers, of course, did not last long enough to even help with that. And then Lev getting punished from below while trying to take out those batteries, also not going to help. Yuna going to actually bring Finka here, something we saw earlier. And the fuse was teased, but unfortunately not going to come out here from from FaZe. I guess not that they're on the attack. They are the team that brought Finka the very first time, though, that we saw, which was on Bank. That was the first time it got brought, to my recollection, in Pro League. They were the only team to really try it too much, so not a surprise to see them playing again, although, to be fair, this the person playing it was not on the team at the time. So it does keep it interesting. We'll see how this deck goes down, as they are going to try their hand at Lockers, which is, this is the normal way to start things, but just hasn't been the case today, as we started, you know, twice on Vents and once on Tellers before this.
You can see the split of kills is a lot more even for FaZe,
yeah,
reinforcing that they've got that teamwork down pat. Not having to worry about any one person not contributing is very important for any team, really. I think it's one of the most powerful things to have on your side as a squad in Pro League.
Well, you have to think about it, is you can't ever guarantee which of your players are going to live through the round towards the end.
Yeah.
The more flexibility you have, that's why you see things like double hard breachers and whatnot, the more rounds are recoverable in situations where you end up in somewhat catastrophic failures in terms of not expecting a player to die, not expecting a defender, for example, to be in a certain position, things like that, or miscommunications even. We will see Mav maybe go for the old chimney grenade, as I like to call it. This is something that still works fairly reliably. It's not really something you can do a ton about outside of having ADSs or just not playing in those positions.
Yeah.
Because more often than not, if you cannot shoot that drone, they're just going to know exactly when to do it, and you cook it well enough that you don't have to worry about them getting any kind of warning.
Drunks with a run out onto Moringa. Unexpected aggression from Black Dragons, who find themselves down around, will actually pay off.
Only hard breacher they have as well.
Yeah, taking out the only hard breacher for FaZe will put them in a very difficult position. They opt to still attack onto the site, but they'll have to adjust how they choose to do that. A second run out from Drunks will get them a second kill, as Yuna attempts to pick up the diffuser. And yeah, clearly too much information for Black Dragons, and Drunks aware that he has the diffuser in hand. RDZ will take out Cameraman. This looks like a Black Dragons round, but it could be salvaged if Slash continues to peak like that. Astro will eat some damage, but Slash very much more. That really should have been a kill secured there for the IQ, but not the case.
Oh. They're going to reset Slash as well.
Yeah, so back to 50 HP. Lucky him. An excellent shot from Astro, perfectly lined up onto RDZ's head, who's sitting static inside a cafeteria. Now, you can see FaZe not getting ahead of themselves. They know that they need to play this for at least a few kills to even things out. C4 in hand from Slash, and he peeks wide, dies to Mav. Bad timing there for the Valkyrie. Astro coming to support his teammate. Gas canisters will delay, but there's still plenty of time for FaZe. They've been efficient so far on their push.
Well, definitely good on them in terms of making up for this. However, the diffuser is still sitting in Drunks' control here, is the #1 problem they have, unless they can get in there and frag out, which I think is, at this point, probably their plan. Just let's get in there, kill as many as we can, and hopefully they can try and push us. But if Drunks maintains control, they can't really end the round. Nicely done by Astro, escaping that, but still in a tough spot. That means they had to evacuate some of this control that they were starting to get.
That was a big whoops there from Small. It you know, lends itself to FaZe quite a bit in this round. Ooh, inches away from a kill there. Mav just missing the opportunity that was presented. Drunks will take down Astro, the hero of this round, truly, for Black Dragons, leaving just Mav in the 1 versus 3, and he will bait for kills with the crouch spam, just trying to make some noise and get an extra frag to end things out. Black Dragons take another round, and 3-3.
Well, they succeed on lockers as well. This time, I want to give all the credit to Drunks in terms of why that round worked out for them, because
without a doubt,
yeah, it's the first peak, the kill on the Only Hard Breacher, great start already. Then you follow that up by killing them attempting to recover the diffuser. Very unlikely they're going to send a third person at that point. You've pretty much denied their ability to go for the objective, and they've just got to go for kills at that point. If Drunks is left to do his thing, which he was, and then left to follow up with a third kill as well, it's just... That's a shutout right there, where you just shut out their ability to win that without getting a lot of good plays. Then you saw situations like Mav just barely away from getting a potential kill as well, and then yeah, IQ just getting chased out of the room by the Maestro. It was not a great situation for FaZe.
A few missed opportunities that Black Dragons presented to FaZe that were not, they just weren't seized, combined with the fact that Drunks was able to deny the diffuser outside. I mean, the round was basically over at that point. Now, ventilation, the next defense. So this is the most universally standard set of bomb sites we've seen today on Border. Of the 2 matches that have been played, Black Dragons are the most predictable.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but there you go. They're going to the 2 standard sites.
Well, to be fair, they are still tied here, so I would say it's not been working out badly, as they started well on lockers, and Vents has been pretty successful for most teams, more than the other sites, so it is, I would say, looking like Black Dragons could make it work, although, like we said, last round was somewhat dependent on a luck, I want to say lucky early play, because you definitely don't know who you're going to spawn peek on, and catching the, not only is it the Thermite, the Only Hard Breacher, because they don't bring double, but also he happened to be the diffuse carrier, so, I mean, not that that's unstandard or anything, but just... That was a little bit of a lottery winning in terms of your spawn peak, not only working, but being on the right player.
Absolutely. But still, a great play from Drunks. Now, top floor defense established to hold the bottom floor, but looks like some pressure onto jail and storage room. Rightfully so. This is usually where we'll see a team attack onto this site. They can cut off a lot of angles once they get control of storage.
Yeah, once you get in there, of course, you can take control of the actual customs room to an extent, and then if you can control the doorway, you pretty much have one direction to face. You just have to worry about the hallway and the stairs as well when you're trying to pressure onto that door, but it does, yeah, it is a nice kind of a middle of the L. Slash, though, just barely missing the angle, gets flashed, and that, well, that pushes him away, but certainly doesn't kill him.
Yeah, if Slash were to peek a little bit wider in that situation, he would have gotten pretty much a free kill, but not going to happen. And we've seen a couple of those situations so far today where just barely people will miss opportunities like that. FaZe looking to push their way into the top floor. I mean, well, they're looking to push their way seemingly everywhere. They're very much all over the place right now, and it's a little worrisome. Could be just a little more focused on maybe one push in particular, but not going to be the case here. So they keep themselves nice and spread out. Looks like 2, though, pushing towards office as the wall gets opened up by Moringa. Mav will start his push in.
Boosted, no less. Boosted from the Finka boost as well, no less.
Oh, yeah, the Finka boost going to help quite a lot with Buck's recoil, of course. Camera will take down RDZ. Jaeger gone on the top floor. The defenders are being, a lot more solid on the top than most teams would. Slash, the last one though, as Legion finally falls back. Lev waiting for a kill from the north balcony. Opportunity is just barely out of reach. That kill so tantalizing, whether Lev knows it or not.
Well, of course, he's still at least controlling that window, of course. If he looks away like he is right now, doesn't result in anything other than his death, unfortunately, as Astro takes him down. This is looking pretty good for the attack now to take this if Slash is forced off. However, Drunks is very low, but at least gets the kill on Astro. Still a huge advantage over to FaZe, but they're slowly running out of time to actually make this push happen. And if they can't take Slash down, good luck getting the plant down.
Now, Slash is still on the top floor, and he's able to do quite a lot of damage to the Ash, but Camera is boosted, and that MPX doesn't do very much damage. You need to hit the headshots. Drunks and Slash both very lit up. If Moringa takes down Small, it's going to be essentially 2 bullets that will finish off these last 2 defenders. And Slash is falling back, but he will lose out to Moringa, leaving just Drunks, who dies to Yuna in the hallway. FaZe take the round quite decisively.
Unfortunately for the remaining defenders, they were peeking a lot of angles fairly aggressively, and that was not the right play at that time when you had the time advantage. They thought, oh, maybe we'll get some picks and give us a better advantage when it comes to them trying to plant. But unfortunately, they didn't win those gunfights, and that's really what cost them in the end. They are going to try vents again. They may have a better opportunity this time. But I got to credit Slash for really sticking that top floor as long as possible. I mean, not only did he delay a lot of time and live through some gunfights that were not very favorable to him, he still even got back to site, but just the lack of time for him to be able to reset and the lack of manpower to cover him doing so meant he was not going to be super effective on the site itself. Had they had more defenders left, I think that could have worked out for him, but either way, that was down to just some of them getting picked off on the bottom floor. Drunk's going to 6th pick over to something to surprise them on ventilation.
He's taking his time to think about it.
Yeah. There we go, a bandit. That will help a little bit if he wants to play upstairs, for example, or deny them from being able to open up the bathroom side. I mean, not as universally useful on this bomb site as some of the other ones, but still get some utility out of him.
It makes sense considering how well Drunks did on Bandit last time he played the Operator. All things considered, really seems to be his op in this match. He did play Legion in the previous round. It didn't work out great.
Well, as far as gunpower goes, you get fairly good guns on both the Operators, but you get higher speed on Bandit.
Yeah, the MP7 is probably one of the best defensive guns. It has been since the dawn of time.
Especially when it had an ACOG.
Especially when it had an ACOG. I mean, you could do so much with it. It was so versatile.
It really was. I mean, Bandit Jaeger with the ACOG days, combined with Smoke ACOG on SMG-11.
You could have a full ACOG lineup back in the day. Think about that.
Yeah, that was.
You got 5 ACOGs on defense. I mean,
how this game has changed.
It's really, yeah, it's gone in an interesting direction. I mean, that whole playstyle is dead now.
Yeah.
It's just gone. Like, you can't do that anymore. You have to play it on totally different on defense. Anyway, moving on from reminiscing. The defense setting themselves up on the top floor.
We'll see if it works out a little bit better this time. I feel like they lost a little too many people downstairs, despite the fact that they were able to rotate a lot of people back without dying from the top floor. Just didn't work out, and that's maybe down to the players downstairs not doing a great enough job keeping them away. We'll see if they do a little bit better of it this time. Drone's getting caught out at least. But FaZe might just decide to go mostly bottom floor anyways, and decide to pressure them from there instead of spending a lot of time trying to fight players like Slash upstairs. Just let him stay there.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what he's able to do. I mean, Slash, last time he was upstairs, didn't really pull off much on defending ventilation. As an individual, he roamed for a long time, eventually fell back, and died as he was falling back. And Small going to be the first victim in this round. Astro pushing his way in through jail into customs. He ate a lot of damage in that engagement, but ultimately a victory, and he will fall back, be very likely reset by his teammates.
Well, we'll see if that ends up cursing them here. Losing the Maestro early is definitely not a good position to be in. Astro still is going to be effective even with that low health. It's an operator that you can get away with that if you're good at fragging, and then he gets reset anyways. So this is very looking like a FaZe round, and they are already a point up. So they are slowly collapsing on the potential defeat here of Black Dragon, the way things are going so far. But Vent's still a better site than some of the other ones have been.
Yeah, and the dangerous thing is that Black Dragon still has so much presence on the top floor. And as you said, FaZe are choosing to ignore this for the time being, which means that at any moment, FaZe could be flanked as they attempt to push the site. This is very dangerous what they're attempting to do right now. Camera will take down 2. RDZ gets Unity, tries to plant and default. Lev also onto Moringa after Moringa refrags onto RDZ, leaving Lev the final defender. And he will be finished off by Astro. A clean clear there for FaZe as they push into the site. And despite the presence on the top floor, it's just not enough for Black Dragons.
Unfortunately, they might have just rotated back too soon, or in situations where they dropped the hatch just to be killed. There was an opportunity for Bandit to leap over the ledge into the main lobby instead of rotating a hatch, which is, I mean, didn't really get to see what he did, but that was an opportunity to do something that might have been a little more unexpected and potentially get behind them rather than dropping down the hatch. But either way, Lev was in an okay position to at least defend the diffuser, but being the last man left alive like that, not a whole lot you can do by yourself against that pressure. It was good on him at least catching the plant going down and stopping it. But at that point, it was just kind of buying yourself time until the end of the round. Yuna going to bring out Monty possibly here, along with Blackbeard. So it's always a fun combination to deal with, especially with the Finka in store here.
Capitao going to be 6-picked onto instead of the Blackbeard. Interesting choice there. I mean, I think it's probably a good choice when you're attacking Armory Lockers and Archives. Blackbeard's very useful, and there's some great spots you can put him. For example, that north balcony to cut off rotation between the site. But I think, yeah, Capitao going to be a lot more useful on the actual site push itself, being able to disrupt the rotation.
Now, of course, you still do take heightened damage if you're Finka boosted going into smoke. And you're usually going to see someone counter smoking Capitao smoke, but they didn't bring any, so that actually works out very well for FaZe, despite the fact that Black Dragons have seen that Finka pick before, did see it just now as well, and didn't 6-pick anyone over to the smoke. Now, to be fair, they did reduce the amount of damage that you took from that, so it's not as strong of a counter as it used to be, but it's still an effective counter in the sense that there's a good chance, a lot of times when you're smoking the planter, you get close to killing them, and then it doesn't finish them off because they managed to finish the plant in time. Very unlikely for that to happen if you're boosted, just because the increased damage is more than enough to actually finish the job and then trap the diffuser in there. But again, they didn't bring that smoke. Instead, bringing a dock, maybe not the best choice because, well, you got the boost combined with a shield and the ability to fire smoke through ADSs, this could make for a fairly easy plant.
Yeah, but you could see that Black Dragons are relying on the fact that they have a Maestro and an Echo both, which is odd because usually one is banned.
Yeah.
I mean, that, of course, sure, it makes sense, but why not bring every advantage you can?
Well,
though, we say that, and the oddest operator pick for Black Dragons will get the first kill. Drunks, always doing work from CCTV. When he's put in this position, he just gets kills, and he will start things off with a kill into Capitao, which means the smokes are gone, except for the ones possibly on Montaigne.
This might be the old school plant in Archive strategy we used to see a long time ago. Yeah, this is a classic.
A very odd one. I don't think it's going to work considering there's C4, there's Evil Eyes, there's Yokai drones. C4 will take out Cameraman and down Yuna, so yeah, it didn't work.
That's why it's old school.
Yeah, there's too many forms of counters these days. Moringa gets Drunks as Drunks attempts to peek, and Astro will take out Lev as Lev also attempts to peek. Yuna definitely salvageable right now. The defenders were trying to secure the kill, and Astro, well, will keep his teammate alive. Yuna going for the full rotation. Nade going to be used to cover the repel in, but it's bad timing, and Small will finally finish off the Montaigne. All up to Astro now in a 1 versus 3. It doesn't seem likely. He's got the grenade to work with, so it's possible. He's used both of his boosts, though. And looking for the angle still on Maestro. He will finally find it as Small looks to have gotten on cameras. Bad timing there for the Maestro, and he should have been aware that you are exposed if crouched in that position at a certain angle. Astro found that angle, and now he puts himself in a much better spot.
The irony for me is that if Astro hadn't have wasted 3 adrenal boosts to get to that point, he could have picked up Monty without having to pick him up. You know what I mean? He could have triggered him, picked him right back up. He would have been able to shield for that. They would have been able to recover the diffuser if there was no more C4s. It actually could have worked out just fine, but spamming 3 that early, I mean, yeah, they don't last as long now. And so, well, that's part of the reason you got to trigger more often, but save one. Save that emergency one. You see, situations like this are exactly why.
Pistol out, Astro's going for the close peeks here on the doorway. His position, though, given away by the cameras. And this is not a great spot. If he had been able to get into this spot without being, well, detected, he probably would have been able to clutch it, knowing Astro. But pre-fires coming out from the defenders. Pistol will find one. Will it find a second? No! Slash shuts him down. Black Dragons takes the round. A near clutch there from the Finka, but not to be.
One of the things I forget, too, is that Finka carries that PMM, one of the best pistols in the game. You don't really think about it because usually it's a Spetsnaz pistol, and
it's it doesn't get used that much because the Russian operators are either banned or not used usually.
Yeah. I believe Finka is supposed to be Russian, so I guess that's where that comes in to play. But it's
well, she uses a Russian pistol.
Yeah.
And moral of the story, again, Russian operators usually banned or not played. That's what we're trying to get to. Is like you don't really get to see it that often, but yeah, it's such a good pistol. It has a really small magazine size, but it does so much damage.
It's more than enough bullets in it to easily kill someone though.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can get 1-2 kills before you have to reload potentially.
All that said, though, he did have an LMG as well.
Yeah, you know what? Just the reload time was kind of long on it, and he's just like, you know what? Forget it. I guess clutch time.
Ventilation workshop for Black Dragons, the final bomb site and final round for this match.
All right, well, we talked earlier about there's the potential for a tie situation, similar to what we saw with EG Obey, the first place team against the 8th place team, and we could see a similar situation here.
Yeah, but a tie is not going to help Black Dragons.
Certainly not.
After FaZe Clan got onto match point, it is 100% a certainty Black Dragons will be auto-relegated this
season. And that FaZe goes to LAN.
Yeah, and well, obviously, we already knew FaZe was going to go to LAN. There was no question there.
Not to mention they cannot lose that first place.
Yeah, they can't even. Yeah, they're definitely going to be going for the first seed from Latin America. But Black Dragons are done. This is the last round that they will play in Pro League for this and the next season.
Well, you know what? This is where you show off what you got, so that either you carry your fans down to Challenger League, or you are potentially looking for a pickup from another team.
We've seen many things happen to teams that get relegated, like ENCE reformed and are still playing. We've seen other teams explode and the players go to different rosters. Anything's possible. Even exchange here. Drunks onto camera, Moringa onto Drunks. So Drunks has just been peaking this whole match on defense, and finally it will bite back.
Funny, because I mentioned earlier you don't usually get Vigil on vents very often, but that's exactly what we just got from Drunks.
Yeah, but he's gone now.
He's gone. Short-lived.
Yeah. It was a fragger for a fragger. The Vigil for the Ash, so not a huge blow to either team.
His early aggression's been working, though.
Yeah, usually. I mean, here it's, like I said, even, but yeah, Drunks has been at least getting a kill most of the time he peeks out.
So credit to him. It's just the rest of his team that needs to make sure that counts for something. Although, in this case, yeah, the operator that he killed, not the most important. But that means early aggression off the board, which means map control is a little bit slower to be taken without that entry fragger. So that will benefit them a little bit.
And the defender inside of Bathroom likely has been spotted out. Moringa going to be droning for Mav as he pushes towards Bathroom Tellers. Nade goes out, an attempt to kill RDZ. It will take care of the barbed wire, but the Jaeger's still alive and will be spotted by his opponents. Pre-fires from the Jaeger, trying to maintain his position as long as possible. He's already had a pretty good job of it so far, able to waste a lot of time. Astro will finish off Lev, as he attempts to peek and alleviate some of the pressure that this Jaeger is feeling. Unsuccessful though. The flashbangs going into Bathroom now. RDZ very likely blinded, but will he be finished off? No! RDZ gets the kill onto Moringa. Good positioning inside of the shower there, or rather the toilet, and he will maintain his position and his team's potential in this round. If he dies too early, too easily, it's all lost for the defense. And there you go. Mav finally finishes him off, and now a Buck with 3 soft walls in front of him into the site. This is a great spot to be in. Slash, though, peeking aggressively onto Yuna. The Thermite charge will go off, but the Thermite himself has been finished, and it's nice and even at a 2-2. Astro in the... Oh, wow, what a shot from Slash. That crossfire from Astro was essential, and now Mav is against a really difficult win. If he wants to get it, it's going to be impressive. Mav will get a nice shot onto Slash, but shoots the camera, and Black Dragons will take it. A draw, 5-5. Nice try there for FaZe, but Black Dragons able to end this on somewhat of a nice note. They didn't get utterly destroyed on their final match of Pro League.
And most importantly, that last camera died.
Yeah, Mav got the final camera. Did you notice?
Yeah, it's very important.
I thought it might have already been destroyed. I'm not really sure, but either way, yeah, a draw. Okay.